Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive. I am your host, Stevie Stacks, coming at you from Fort Worth, Texas. And this is Live, Let, Thrive, as you know, your favorite short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world. And we're going to have some good fun today on episode 308. 308 episodes of this show. Wow. Been doing it for a while. That's crazy. But we love bringing you some good information especially in the short-term and mid-term world. But it all kind of like mixes together now, right? Short-term, mid-term, long-term. It kind of all mixes together. I've been doing this right now without my headphones, but I feel naked without my headphones on. I don't really need them because I'm not talking to another like a guest on the show or something. It's just me and a microphone. But I don't know. I feel naked without my headphones. So I must slide those on. Ah, that feels better. So yeah, this is gonna be a great show. We're gonna dive into a lot of things. In particular, arbitrage repairs, arbitrage maintenance and repairs. Now, a lot of you been doing arbitrage for a while, like we have, at my company, Argist Rentals. So it's like not really, man, I'll say it like this. It's not clear cut and dry all the time when you're talking about who's responsible for maintenance and repairs at an arbitrage, right? And of course, an arbitrage for any newbies that are just now tuning in and listening to the show is when you rent a house, apartment, condo, whatever. You rent it out from someone on a lease, 1 to 2 years to 3 year lease. We like the longer leases, because if you're going to pay for all that furniture to put in there, you want to be able to recoup that. And so the first 6 months is recouping the furniture cost. After that is pure profit, right? So if you only have a 1 year lease, you're only going to make profit for 6 months after you've paid off the furniture, and then you got to leave and then deal with the furniture. That kind of sucks. So we like 2 year leases at least, preferably 3 year leases if we can get them. Anyways, aside from that, so that's what an arbitrage is, and that's what we've been accumulating over these years that we've been doing this. And when it comes to who's responsible for fixing things, when we talk to potential like landlords to let us do the arbitrages, it's part of our negotiating chips, I guess you could say chips or a negotiating piece that we could use is like, hey, not only will we keep your house in perfect condition, inside and out, professional cleaners, professional landscapers, handyman, all that stuff. If something, let's say something under $250, it needs, it breaks or it needs maintenance. We will handle that. You don't have to handle that. So any small things, and that covers a lot of small things as a landlord, leaking toilets, leaking faucets, what else? Even garbage disposal. You can get a garbage disposal for around $99 and then pay someone like $100 to install it. So around $200, you can have a new garbage disposal after those go out. And they do go out. They have a shelf life from anywhere from 1 year to 3 years. And then if you're taking over a house, you don't know you don't know how old that thing is. So that's part of our negotiations is we will say anything, any small to medium to low medium things that need to be fixed, we will fix it. And they don't have to worry about that, which is, as a landlord, that's great because most of the things that happen at a house are small things and they're a pain in the butt. But anyways, so that being said, if it's a big item, of course we're going to tell them, hey, the AC's out. Could you send your AC people out to fix the AC? Or if if they need a new AC, if they can install a new AC. And that's where it gets a little tricky because if you have a great landlord, let's take a house for example, your cookie cutter 3-2 house, right? And we don't rent from big box companies like Progressive or First Key or these big giant Wall Street companies that go in and buy up all the houses and they turn them all into rentals. We don't rent from them because, well, first of all, they don't like to rent. They don't like to rent to us, us arbitrageurs. So that's a dead end, right? So you call, I mean, I've tried before. You call them, and someone picks up from the Philippines or something, and then they don't really know where to direct your call, or you don't really get to talk to somebody. And when you do talk to somebody, they just read from the script and say, "No, we don't allow subleasing. We don't allow subleasing." That's pretty much it. Fine, whatever. So I've learned not to even reach out to them, but so we like to rent from mom and pop homeowners, right? So we will reach out to a mom and pop homeowner. This is how I do it. I go to Zillow, and I find a mom and pop place, and you could tell because the pictures aren't really professional. Um, they, yeah, yeah, you could tell. It's just, and then plus it'll say who's the landlord, and it'll say the person's name, listed by landlord, listed by owner. And so, anyways, so we reach out to them. I submit an application right away. And why I do that is because, I have pretty good credit. And a lot of the applications, if they receive applications, a lot of the applications are people with bad credit. It's just I would say like a pandemic of bad credit out there. It's a lot of bad credit because a lot of people aren't on top of it. And it's just once you start sliding down the slippery slope of a credit card here, credit card there, you can't pay, and a car that you can't afford, and whatever, your job lays you off. If people get bad credit fairly quickly in this country, which sucks because there's a lot of good people that do, end up with bad credit. And anyways, that's a whole nother story for another time. But so I have, thank goodness, thank God, I have pretty good credit. I've worked on it, and I do have mortgage debts on there. So, anyway, so people open up my. I always wonder what it looks like when. Well, I can see it. I can see my credit on, like if you put what's it called? You pay for a Zillow application. It's good for 30 days, which is cool. So you go into Zillow, and you when you apply for a house, you pay for this. I think it's like $29, but it's good for 30 days. So you can, in 30 days time, you can apply to as many houses as you want, which is cool. So you don't have to pay $29 every single time you apply for a house. That would add up pretty quickly. But luckily, $29, and then for a whole month, you can submit as many applications as you want. And so like I said, you could look at your own application too. You can look at your own credit history as well, which is pretty cool. And I see because I got like 7 mortgages on there, right? And so they're probably like a lot. Some of them do ask. Some of them just see a good credit score, I guess, and they reach out to me and ask me when I want to see the house. But others do ask, "Oh, I see you own some houses. Why are you needing to rent from me?" And then that's when, always the phone call, because if they reach out, a lot of them say, "Hey, call me and we'll discuss." And so after they open my application, because Zillow tells you when they open your application, so they'll open your application, and then yeah, those, like I said, they'll see I have a pretty good credit score, and they'll reach out to me, or they'll call me or whatever, and then they'll start asking me some questions about, okay, when do you want to tour the house? Some of them are just, like I said, don't even ask about my credit. They just see it's a good credit score, and then they see there's no background, bad background stuff, that everything's paid on time, blah blah blah. And so they don't dig into it too much, and they say, oh, when do you want to see the house? And that's when I say, okay, I'm available today, or this afternoon or tomorrow. Always try to do as fast as you can, because like they're gonna get a bunch of other applications if it's a good house. And so, and they're like, okay, yeah, yeah, I could do that. I said, okay, real quickly, this is what I do. I provide corporate housing to traveling professionals and people, insurance claims yada yada. I won't say my whole spiel. I can send it to you if you reach out to me. I'll send you my script. But I just pretty much tell them what I do, and we're a corporate housing provider. Blah blah blah. We'll rent your house for long term. 2 years, 3 years, and we'll take care of it inside and out. Yada yada. Like I said, if you want the script, I'll send it to you. But then they'll start asking some questions. Oh, okay. So they don't a lot of them don't understand it right away. They'll be like, so there someone else is gonna rent my place just for a month at a time. I want a long-term lease. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna rent it for you long-term lease. I'm responsible for paying you every month. I pay you on the first of the month every time. I do this in other houses around your area, and I will take 100% great care of your house. And I have what are they called? Referrals from other landlords around you that I where I do this, that they love this setup because, like I said, your house is going to be perfect all the time, inside and out, and I'm going to pay you on the first of the month. That's what a landlord wants to hear, right? And so once it gets into the minutia, as a big college word, that then you can start talking about, oh, they do worry about these people coming in and out of their house, of course. And you're saying, well, any damages that they cause, we'll take care of. Um, and they're like, well, then they start, some of them start, well, what about maintenance? Something goes, needs fixing. You said you have handyman. And I said, and then that's when we start talking. Yeah, if I know that these people are like on the fence interested, then I might not even bring up the $250 threshold for maintenance. Now, if I think that they're still a little bit suspicious, they don't want that, they're not sure, then that's my bargaining chip I bring up. Don't bring that up. Don't start it's just like any negotiations like don't show your whole hand, right? Show them a little bit, and then throw in the big guns, right? And so that's where I say, yeah, not only that, like I know if it's a great house, I'm like, man, this is gonna make us some great money. I'll say not only that, we'll take care of your house, but like any minor maintenance, small maintenance, we'll take care of that ourselves. Under $250, we'll take care of that. And so that is a big bargaining chip. And then, thinking of me as a landlord, I would, and I tell them I'm a landlord too. I own houses, and I'll tell you that most of them are corporate, and some of them they're not corporate, they're just regular long term. But I've had issues in the past where people stop paying rent. I have to get them out of the house, evict them, whatever I got to do. I said, if I could make every house corporate, I would, but some of them just aren't set up for corporate. And so that kind of like, knowing that they're talking to another landlord, I guess that kind of builds a rapport. And then another thing, I just ask, I mean, just being on this show for so long has taught me how to become a pretty decent interviewer. I ask a lot of questions that I think are pretty good. And then so I just start asking them questions, about the house, how long they had it, where y'all from. I noticed a different phone number on there on your, because it says on Zillow their phone number, so you notice, oh, they're out of California, whatever. So you just start asking them questions, and then start trying to relate to them. Just a regular, I'm a good conversationalist, I would say. And so that they just build a rapport with people. They trust you, and then they'll, a lot of times they agree, and I'll go look at the house. Now, after all that said and done, sometimes the house sucks. You get there and like, ooh, smells like cigarettes and weed in this house. Who lived here before? And then you start noticing all the stuff that's damaged, because maybe the photos they had were like the older photos before this previous tenants went in there and trashed the place. So that's another thing too. But if it's a good house, you get there and it's great, and it's like, wow, this house will work. Yeah, let's talk about when we could move in and set up the lease and all that. And then you kind of get a feel for the person too, right? I mean, you can't always be 100% accurate, but you get a feel for the person, if they're going to be easy to work with, or they're going to be they're not going to want to fix nothing. Now, I'll say that because they'll expect you. I mean, some of them expect you to fix everything, and that's not fair, because you'll lose you'll lose your ass, and it's not your house anyways. So let's say, yeah, you're fixed. You don't want to fix a $10,000 AC unit if you're going to only be there for a 1 year or 2 year lease. That's ridiculous. So, but anyways, you try to get a feel for someone. You want to meet them in person, and then once you realize, yeah, this would be a cool person to work with. Um, like it's not always 100%, but it's better than not meeting them at all. So I like to meet them in person, and then from there we start talking about terms. We get, hey, if I do 2 years, will you knock off $50 a month? Or you start talking to them like that. Of course, that's part of the negotiations, and then sign the lease, good to go. Now here's where that I was talking about. I'm bringing it all the way back around to the maintenance part, and and like I said, it's not clear cut and dry because let's say, and I'll tell you the situation I'm going through with the house, and this house close to me. I'm not gonna say exactly what where it is, but it's it's been doing great for us. It's been doing we keep it filled with corporate people. It's a 3 bedroom house that has like a office that could be a fourth bedroom, and I'll get to that in a minute because that's an important part of the story. Um, but people love this house. They love it, and and it's not the I mean, I would say it was built in the 90s. So yeah, late 90s, I would think. But it's had a kitchen updated and a bathroom updated. So it's not, it's older and it's hardwood everywhere, which is great. I hate carpet. But it's for some reason in this particular area it just stays booked and it makes us great profit, right? And so a situation happened last this was earlier this year, I believe. Yeah, earlier this year. It was during one of our, up North Texas, we get these freezes, right? We get these ice storms and freezes. Not all the time, but this it happens sometimes. And so it happened this past year. It got really cold. Now, to winterize the homes, I always do this myself because it's very important. You go and put those covers on the water spigots outside, right? And then you kind of wrap it anything you can in the insulation, um anything exposed on the outside of the house. Then you be sure, and this is the hard part. You try to be sure that the guests keep the water dripping. Guests and cleaners, right? Over in this area because it's gonna get cold pretty soon, and so you gotta have anytime it gets below 32 degrees, then the pipes could freeze. Texas pipes suck. So if they're not running water through them, and they might freeze up. And if that happens, then they start getting some busted pipes and you get water leaks inside the house, which sucks because that's a lot of damage right there. And insurance don't cover a lot of that stuff. So that's what sucks. And on top of that, it's an arbitrage. On top of that, it's not your house. And this is what the situation I got in. So a pipe busted. We had guests in there that were there for like a few weeks, and then they left, and they claimed that they were letting the water drip and everything. Now, all that said, even if you do cover the spigots outside, which I did, and even if your guests are religious about dripping the water, which they said they were, but when the cleaners got there, they said there was no water dripping. Anyways, all that being said, the pipes, they could just be old and they've been going through a lot of winters and it's just their time to go out. And it happened in this particular situation. And this landlord that I was dealing with, she it's there was an electrical issue and before that, which I told them about, because electricity I don't mess with. I don't try to mess with it. I mean, maybe small stuff, but electricity is the one of the rare things in a house that could kill you. So I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not gonna have my cleaner try to mess with something that's an electrical issue. Now if I send my handyman out, I could send my handyman, and but if you once you get into electrical stuff, it could be very expensive. So I just told him, hey, the lights aren't going coming on in this particular room, and or room and bathroom, and then the breaker's fine. We looked at the breaker, of course, we troubleshooted a little bit. We couldn't find anything wrong, but these lights aren't coming on. And so could you send your guy? Because they have a guy. And they sent their guy out, and I guess what he did, he looked at he took off where the light switches are, the covers. Yeah, I could point at one right here. Boop. And I guess there was like a multiple. There was one with like three or four switches on it, and and behind that there was like burnt out. So since that one was burnt out, all the lights to that room and bathroom weren't working. So he swapped out that one and put a new one in there and closed it off. Anyways, simple fix, whatever. But the landlord like left me this vicious message like, hey, you're costing us money. You could have done this yourself. You could have sent a handyman and figured this out because all it was a burnt out thing, and you could have took off the cover and discovered this and fixed it. And I was like, oh Lord. I was like, I didn't I'm sure I responded in a very nice, kind way, just trying to say, okay, we'll be more vigilant about that. But to me as a landlord, I'm like, I would never expect my tenants to mess with anything that's electrical. I said, hey, did you try taking off the covers and messing with the panels and this? And no way, man. I mean, why would that even be a thought? Because that could really hurt or kill your tenant. Yet this particular landlord was like acting like, why didn't I start, tearing things apart, looking for where the electrical short would be? I'm like, okay. So now and there are a couple of other incidents like that. Like I kind of knew what I was dealing with now. It's like a landlord that really doesn't want to fix nothing, that thinks we should fix everything, and that's what I was dealing with. Drink of water real quick. So then this big thing happened that this past winter, the freeze happened and the pipe froze, and it's like in the front in the dining room areas where the it just flooded in there, right? So that's happens to be the wall where the spigot is outside. There's the dining room wall. On the other side of it outside is where the spigot is. And so something inside that where the pipes come into the house, they busted, and it flooded that whole dining room into the living room area. And like I said, it's hardwood floors, right? So I told him what happened, and the same thing. This lady, the landlord lady, went off on me and saying this and that. I didn't cover the things correctly, and I didn't have the water dripping and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, I did. I had all that covered. I said sometimes the pipes are just old and it's gonna go out. And anyway, she was uh, um inconsolable. So she luckily sent my or had her husband call me because I guess she just couldn't deal with me anymore because she was just so upset. And the husband was a cool dude, laid back. He said, I'm gonna go out there and look at it. And I said, okay, I'm here right now, trying to clean things up, got the fans going, we got the water turned off. Um, he assessed the situation. He said, oh, okay, yeah, I see what's going on. We're gonna see possibly if we could claim insurance on this, if it's worth it, or just fix it. I said, okay, well, my handyman came by. He said he could, fix that issue, and then he could also change out the flooring because it's starting to warp. And so the husband was more understandable, and they agreed that they're gonna fix it. And fast forward a few days later, I had my handyman go ahead and start on the work. He started out, he fixed the leak anyways, and just so it wouldn't, we can have water, it wouldn't leak anymore. And so he fixed that, and I sent the invoice to them, which they didn't pay right away. And then I asked him, well, when can he start on the flooring? Because this thing is this house is down. I can't rent it out like this. I had to cancel all these bookings that I had in place. And like they kind of ghosted me. And so I just had to keep asking. Anyways, I got like I finally received like a pretty rude message from them. Listen, this is a lot of money for us. This and that. You can't expect us to just fix it right away and blah blah blah. I'm like, wow, man. I just like, geez, that's one of the biggest problems if you when you're arbitraging houses, probably condos and apartments too, whatever. But when you get with a landlord that does either doesn't want to fix nothing or they drag their feet, you know, and to me, I'm like, they don't look at us like regular tenants. They look at us like we're a company, and we should fix these things. And so I'm like, and as a landlord myself, if something goes wrong at one of the houses, I try to fix it right away because I don't want a bigger issue, right? And that's just how I am. And I just want, I want my tenants to be happy, the ones that are paying rent, doing great. Why you want to keep them happy as long as you can. And so, but a lot of landlords aren't like that. I wouldn't say 100% slumlords, but just like, we'll fix it when we fix it kind of deal. Anyways, that house was out of commission for like half the month because that they finally were agreed to pay my handyman, and he switched out the floors, and that took him more time, and they finally paid him for fixing the wall thing. And anyways, so all that was fixed. And we got it back up and running. But just since then, I haven't heard from them. I even said, hey, I was even trying to communicate with them. I said, since this house was unrentable, unlivable for this amount of time, can I get a break on the rent? They never said nothing. They just ghosted me, right? And so I just sent in. I said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and send in part of the rent, like half the rent, since couldn't use the place for half the month, and see what they say. And I sent in half the rent. Like I said, they never said nothing. I haven't heard from them since, actually, and that's a good thing because I just just been renting the house, paying them on the first like clockwork, and they haven't reached out to me again until this. Well, this so it's funny because last week's episode 307 that I spoke about the ups and downs of this industry, and then how the downs happen to all hit us at once, and just to keep keep moving forward and keep trying to pick up more business while you're dealing with those things. And as soon as that episode, it seemed like either that night or the next day, this other incident happens. And like I said, I was going through a bunch of crap, and I still am. A lot of it's sorted out now, but this other incident happened where these guests were staying at that same house I told you about, right? Um, and they were there for like a month, and they kept extending, 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 like another week, another week, another week after that, right? So they were there for a while. And then we got a message from them that said, "Hey, we're at a hotel because that leak in the one of the bedrooms, it opened up it opened up a crack in the ceiling, and now water's dripping through. So we turned off the AC because we figured the AC was leaking, and then we left the house. We're at a hotel." And I'm like, "Oh crap." I was like, "What's going on there?" And so they sent us photos, and I was like, and the whole ceiling was like, when you get like a leak on the ceiling, it gets like yellowish rusty color, right? And so it was like that, and then it had a crack in it, and it was just water. That's where the water was dripping through, and I was like, how did that happen in one day? I've had leaks at houses before, and it happens over time. You just start seeing that discoloration grow and grow and grow, and to get to the point, I've never had one get to the point where the ceiling opens up, and I'm like, that has to take that has to take a long time because usually you would address something right away. You notice something in the ceiling, right? And and so they Yeah, they left. They said they're going to a hotel or whatever. And so we got our handyman to go in there and look at things. And and so I was like, this is a lot of damage to happen in just one day. And I just handyman went there, he looked at it, my handyman. Um and no, I didn't tell the landlord yet because I'm like I'm thinking how they're gonna look at this, right? They're gonna blame me again, I'm sure, at this particular house. They're gonna start blaming me. And they might have a good gripe in the sense that, well, this didn't happen in one day. This is like over, maybe a week or so of just dripping, dripping, dripping until it opens up like that. And so these people, they didn't tell us there was a leak going on. And that's the danger when you're renting long term, right? And so or midterm that that if you get a bad tenant in there that doesn't really, tell you what's going on in the house, then an issue like this could happen. Now, it's very rare because, usually things are fine, but this particular time, I mean, this happened this time, and then like this leak wasn't just one day and all of a sudden the ceiling opens. It was just a drip, 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 and so was able to fix the leak. And I was asking my handyman, how much is all this going to be to go up there and fix that leak up there, plus repair the ceiling? And and he said, probably around $500 or so. And I was like, "Oh, good. I was thinking thousands, right?" And he so so he went and did that. He's finishing it up today actually, and he's gonna paint the ceiling now that he patched it up, and it looks nice. And it came out to as okay, with the materials and this and that, it came out to like $640. So all right, cool. Now me, I'm already thinking I'm not gonna tell him about this. I said it's not worth it, because especially if they're gonna blame me. Here's the thing. It's a wonderfully profitable arbitrage, wonderfully profitable, and it's been doing great for us, and it's gonna continue to do great for us. It's a three-bedroom, two bath, but another part of that is like I said, it has this office that I want to turn into a fourth bedroom. So I'm gonna make it even better, and it's gonna do even better for us. But I just for this situation, I didn't want to tell the landlords because I'm like, I'm gonna fix this myself. I know it's $640, which great price actually for all that work he did, and and it's not worth. I mean, it's not worth possibly losing this house because these guys suck and the house is gonna get destroyed. I'm already thinking, there's that one big incident that happened. Okay, now if I don't have to bother him with anything else, and this thing is making over $1,000, almost $2,000 a month in profit, then it's really I'm at the point where I'm not. It's not worth it to bring up something like this to them because if I could fix it for a decent price myself and not rock the boat, keep them happy because they're getting their rent and there's no issues happening at the house, and we keep moving forward, then that's great. Now, another arbitrager might say, no, it's not my fault. I'm going to make them pay for it. I'll fight for every penny. Okay, that's one way to do it too. But but in this particular case, then I really don't think it's worth, telling them, especially if it's going to get fixed professionally. It's going to look nice. It's going to be better than it was before. All that being said, there's a balancing act when you're doing arbitrage. When some houses, I'll bring up another house. It's like a condo I have over there in Dallas that I've been arbitraging for like 3 years now. And the guy there, he's so cool, man. Any issue I bring up, hey man, this garbage disposal is not working. Oh, cool, man. Well, send out your guy, and then whatever it costs, just take it off the rent, man. Hey, man, the dishwasher's backing up. Hey, same thing. Send out your guy. If it needs switching out, let me know. Then I'll pay for it. Just if your guy can do it. He don't have his own handyman, so he's like, your handyman's good. He could fix the situations, and then just take it off the rent. And it's been great. He's cool. He gets his rent on time every month, and he's happy. And he's even talking about selling the condo to me, and that's a great thing. We have a great relationship as far as arbitrage to landlord relationship, and but they're not all like that. And there's some that are a little bit slower. There's some that are a lot slower, and there's some that won't fix nothing. I mean, there's slumlords out there, so you really got to be careful, man. But like I said, and if it's not really a profitable place anyways, yeah, I wouldn't even fix nothing. I'd be say, hey man, this you're not fixing anything. I can't host anybody here. I'm gonna just not pay rent this month. Start start doing some tactics like that. Be careful with that though. Just as far as bargaining chip. And because we've had some bad we've had a slumlord in the past and didn't want to fix anything, and just we was like, dude, we gotta send our guy out to fix this issue because this leak all over the floor or whatever it is that keeps happening, it's needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed, and you're dragging your feet, and I can't host anybody. And so situations like that, I just found a way to get out of that lease altogether. I said, you know what, I'm gonna find a family for you that they're gonna pay you whatever rent, and I'm going to be out of this because I can't run a business this way because you're not fixing anything. And so there's I'm doing arbitrage out of houses anyways, and condos, places that people own. I'm not talking about renting out of apartments. That's a whole another story, and I'll get into that a little. But there's a whole spectrum of great uh, landlords to the slumlords and everything in between. So you gotta factor that. You gotta see how profitable a place is doing for you, and if it's worth it to stick with that landlord. And if it is, then just keep going with it, and then you might have to fix small to mid issues yourself. And I'll go back to the first house real quick, house one. I kind of give it a title, but that's the one with the office, and I'm gonna have a barn doors installed where that office is because it's just an exposed, entrance to that office. There's no door on there, so I'm gonna have these barn doors, beautiful barn doors, put on there, and it's gonna cost me a little over $1,000 to do it. And it's not my house. I understand that it's not my house, but I'm gonna go ahead and have these barn doors installed, and that way it'll make it into a fourth bedroom. And I'm gonna put a bed in there. Right now, this is just a futon, and then you could turn it into a bed if you want, but it's more like an office space. But I'm gonna add a bed in there, a queen size bed, and make the room all pretty and stuff. And that's gonna be like a bedroom that also has the computer desk and stuff they can use as an office. But so it's going to turn it from a 3 bedroom to a 4 bedroom. And like I said, it's already doing great on the, as a midterm rental and, short term rental as well to fill in the gaps. But I feel it's going to be even better. And it's worth the $1,000 investment to create a fourth bedroom if you can do that. And let's just say, they go and inspect the house later or whatever, if they ever do that. Um, then oh, there's barn doors here. We didn't say you could add barn doors. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go ahead and I can remove those. No big, no, when we move out, and I'll patch up the bolts. It's just like you put a railing across the top of the door frame, and you put some bolts in the wall, and then you have and then you put hang the doors on there. It's not like it's invasive surgery, so you can just remove if they want those barn doors removed, which I wouldn't think they would if they're beautiful and they add value to the house. I wouldn't think they'd want those things removed. So if they did for any reason want them removed, then you can just undo those bolts, patch up the wall, and you're good to go, right? And take those barn doors with you, which I might I might do anyways if they did agree not to extend our lease again. Then I'm taking my barn doors with me. I'm gonna install them somewhere else that has an office and make it into a fourth bedroom. That might be a good idea. So, anyways, that's another thing I'm gonna do to that house, and so that's gonna be a great add-on. Um, and then talking about the maintenance. Let me see. So that's a good way to end maintenance talk, I guess. We had let me see something real quick. Okay. We'll make sure you hit the record button today. So dealing with arbitrages is it's a fun and not concrete thing. Now, apartments is different because at apartment complexes you have your portals and they need to go fix things and this and that. Now, if you have a shitty apartment complex, then it could be very frustrating because they might take forever to fix something. Because to them, what's livable is different than what us arbitragers or us, Airbnb or short term renters, whatever we you want to call us, um, deem as bookable. Because okay, well, the floor is messed up at a certain spot, whatever. We can send our guy. They might be there in a week and fix it or whatever. But we can't, and someone could live in that situation if they're just a long term regular tenant. But if this is your business and you're trying to rent out to people, you don't want something like that to be to when they walk in, "Hey, what's up with that floor over there? Why is it bowing out like that or whatever? Or what's up with the dishwasher? How come it's not working?" Yeah, and the complex might just take a week or so to fix the dishwasher, but then a person that books the place for a week might be pissed because they can't use the dishwasher, or there's like a hole in the wall that they're not fixing or addressing, or there's I don't know, whatever it is, slow draining bath shower that happens a lot, and they're not addressing all these issues, or fixing them in a quick way. Then it's costing you bookings. And if you allow someone to book when the place is, has an issue or two, then you're exposing yourself to bad reviews, or even asking Airbnb for a full refund from you, which they usually grant. So it's now if you have a good complex, that's a less of a possibility because hopefully they fix things quickly. But I've sent out my own handyman to fix things at apartment complexes before because they take forever, you know and that's why I've been moving towards houses, because push comes to shove, if it's a profitable enough place, I'll send my handyman and then try to deal with trying to get some money from the landlord if they grant it, or knock off some rent, which is also a possibility. But yeah, it's just not. I mean, when you hear the gurus talk about this arbitrage game, they don't really bring up maintenance too much. But I mean, they might say some like blanket statement. Yeah, you could live in a place. I mean, you could arbitrage a place and then rent it out, make money on Airbnb, and not have to own the place and not have to pay a big down payment, and this and that. And then if something breaks, then it's the landlord or whatever has to fix it. Okay, that sounds great on paper. As you know, when you hear a guru talking, all those things sound great on paper. It gets you motivated to want you. Oh, I got to get me an arbitrage. But these maintenance things will kill your business, because the number one thing in business is the profit, right? Now, if you're arbitraging a house or a condo, whatever, you don't own it. Of course, you don't own it, and that's a good thing in one way, but it's a bad thing in another way, because things that you're doing, like a big, if you have to fix something yourself out of pocket just to keep this thing rolling, to get, because if it's down, you're not profiting, you're not making any money, you're down, you're losing money. So not only are you losing money when there's a big maintenance thing going on, and you have to, and the landlord don't want to fix it, or the apartment complex don't want to fix it or whatever, then you have to fix it yourself. So you're out of pocket a few thousand more possibly. And then so you're way in the hole on this. Let's say you sign a 1 year lease and you're already like, from bookings you couldn't get or had to cancel, that you might lose a couple thousand there, and then you have to pay for a maintenance 2 to 3 grand for a maintenance issue that the landlord don't want to fix. That's 5,000. You've already put in, if it's a 1 bedroom or so, you probably put in around $5,000 to furnish the place. If it's a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, maybe up to $20,000 to furnish the place. So you're in the hole 20,000 already, or let's say you're in the hole for a 1 bedroom, $5,000 already. And then on top of that, you're missing bookings, $2,000 there, another $3,000 to fix a major thing that someone don't want to fix. That's 10,000 in the hole, and you got a 1 year lease. So in that 1 year lease that you were looking to profit, $1,000 a month, that's $12,000. Um, all that said and done, you might make a couple grand if you're lucky. But if a couple more of those maintenance things hit, then that whole year is gone, and you're just stuck with a bunch of used furniture, and you're at a place that they're not going to fix nothing, so you're not going to want to stay there, and you might have lost money over that whole long year, right? Which is, but if it was, let's say, if something you owned, okay, you're fixing things and you're improving the house, okay, that's great because you own it, you're adding value, and you're getting the equity and you're getting the tax write-offs and all that. You don't get tax write-offs at arbitrages. You don't get you don't get any equity. So after that 1 year, your goal in that 1 year is to profit, and you want to make, let's say you want to put 5,000 into something, you want to double your money in 1 year, right? It's just like an investment. I want to at least double my money. And if you're not doing that, if you're losing money, that's a terrible investment. And no matter what it is, you might as well have bought some stocks and just held on to it. So yeah, the gurus make this look easy. Everything's gonna go great. You're gonna have great landlords gonna fix everything for you. You're not gonna be out of pocket nothing. That's not exactly the case. And I'm sorry, I'm giving you the good, the bad, the ugly of arbitrage. Now, all that being said, I still love arbitrage, but I'm flexible with how I handle situations depending on how profitable that arbitrage is, right? And anyways, moving on. Other news, I was talking about the lady at one of my long-term rentals that stopped paying rent after the first month and is hadn't paid me rent for these 2 months, and she's agreed to move on, to leave. That's a good thing, right? She's agreed to leave, move on, and hopefully she's out pretty quickly, or otherwise I have to do all that what's it called, eviction stuff, and she don't want that because she has decent credit, and she don't want the eviction. She don't want me to be hounding her for her money and all that stuff. But um she should be gone soon. Now this particular place is my first house, right? As I transition. This is the first house I've ever owned. And I lived in it for shoot, what, 6, 7 years, something like that. And so it has sentimental value. I didn't really want to sell it or nothing. Now it's gone up a lot, and I barely owe very much on it anymore. So it's sitting on a lot of equity. But I don't know. I've just always wanted to keep it. Now the problem with this house, I mean, it's nice. I got it renovated and everything this past year after the first the first tenants moved out, and they had destroyed the place. I mean, just destroyed it. It sucks. But they were there for years, but they ended up leaving. I had to get them out of the house, and they destroyed it. They had pit bulls chewing up everything, pooping and crapping everywhere. It was just a nightmare. But anyways, got it all cleaned up, got it all fixed, got it all redone, floors, walls, everything, and it looks beautiful. And so, but it's in an area that I would say maybe around a C area. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing A, B, C, it's not, A would be the best area, of course, and then B, all right, and then C is, not the best area. And then, of course, D is bad area, and F is just you probably get murdered. So it's probably around a C, I would say, maybe C minus, C or C area. I don't mind going there in the daytime. Uh, but it's not the best area. So as far as me, I thought about what if I do corporate there, and I was like, I don't think a families, I don't think they're gonna want to stay in that area. Now like I'm Hispanic, and so I think there's a lot of Hispanic in that, people like me in that area, and so I think that's and Hispanic and African American, a lot of Asian, but it's like, so it's a lot of minorities in that area, and which I would like. Okay, I know that that's probably who's gonna want to rent from me, and I'm cool with that. And the thing is, this is like the second time I've gotten clients that are not paying. They stop paying rent, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm not attracting the highest credit scores. I'll tell you that much. This, this past tenant, she had a great credit score, and I was like, okay, cool. That was a plus, and made okay money. And I was like, but like I said, I'm not attracting the best credit scores for this area, and and I'm cool with that because I know what I got. I know. I mean, it's a nice house, but it's just in a not the best area. So I know, you know, who's going to be applying for this house to be treading on the watching my words correctly. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I lived there. I'm a minority. I was cool there. No big deal. But I'm just saying that's who's gonna probably apply for this house. Other minorities like myself. And now what I just I told her, okay, you need to leave. You haven't paid any rent. She agreed to leave. And I said I'm gonna go ahead and relist the house and start taking applications. So, as soon as you're out of there, I can start doing tours. And I started getting applications, and this one lady sent her application, and she asked me if I accept housing vouchers. And I said, I never thought of it, but I'm not opposed to it. So I ended up I messaged her back, and then I called her, and it was a sweet older African American lady, and I was talking to her, and she was telling me, yeah, she has housing through city of Dallas. And I was like, oh, can you use that in Arlington, which is where my house is? And she said, yeah, yeah, you can. I mean, I could use this voucher and these. And she named like these different zip codes, and I guess Arlington's one of them. So Dallas not only just pays for you for Dallas, they'll pay like if you're registered in Dallas, you could use that voucher in the surrounding cities as well. And I guess Arlington's one of them, which I didn't know that. I'm learning this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I do have an older African lady at one of my two-bedroom, two-bath condos in Fort Worth. That's Section 8 housing voucher, and it's works out great. The government, or the city pays her rent, and she pays just a small fraction, like $200, and then the city pays her utilities, and it's just like it's been great. I don't have to do nothing, and and then every 2 years you apply for a raise. You apply to raise the rent. That's what I learned. There's a couple things I learned from that, and that's another situation. So this house that I got, this lady's interested in it, and it's just her. I said, it's just you it's a four-bedroom house, and she's like, yeah, yeah, I got approved to do a house, three-bedroom house, and because she says she has cancer and stuff, and she's been in and out of hospice, and I'm no longer in hospice, and but now I need my house to stay at, and now she's also approved for a live-in medical. I forgot what she called it. It's kind of like a live-in nurse. So I guess around the clock she has someone there that they need a bedroom or two for these live-in assistant nurses or whatever, so they can make sure. Because she says, yeah, it's hard for me to walk, so I might fall down. So there has to be someone there at all times, 24/7, and so I need another bedroom for them. And so she got approved for that. I was like, oh, cool. And so she's interested in the house, and she applied. Of course, she don't make a lot of income, like $700, $600 or $700 a month was what she reported income. I assume that's just, getting money, whatever you call it from the government, whatever they call it, Social Security, maybe, I don't know. But she gets a certain amount from the government. Of that $600 or $700, 200 she could pay towards rent, and then the government pays the rest of her rent, and then so it's guaranteed for me, and I'm like, why didn't I in that particular area? That would be perfect for Section 8. And even if it don't work out with this lady or the one that's leaving drags her feet and all that stuff, I think it'll be this is where I want to go with this. I want to put a Section 8 person in there. Now, a whole family, I have to think about that because I don't, I'm a little bit nervous about doing something like that. But, because I've heard the horror stories of putting a Section 8 family in there, and it could end up badly. But if it's a little old lady, that's awesome. It's just her, and she needs a place, like something decent for her, and she's cool with that area, and she's probably not even going to leave the house anyways, from what it seems. But that would be great. And so now it's leading me, every bad situation opens the door to like good situations, right? Opens the doors for a good situation because you're like, well, how can I solve this issue if I'm just attracting um renters there that are not the best renters and not the best credit scores and not the best jobs, and then they're gonna stop paying rent on me. Um what what should I look for in this area. And then Section 8, housing vouchers or whatever, assisted housing, whatever, it might be a perfect play for this. Like I said, it's not a F area. It's right in the middle, the C area, C whatever. And but it's nice house and everything. And so I think that could be a great situation doing Section 8 in that area. So I'm excited about the new possibilities of making pretty good money at this house and keeping it and holding on to it. And then my main goal is to hold on to all these houses that I got is because for my kids in the future so they can have something, right? And they can, they'll start off and maybe have a starter home. I'll have a starter home for them and and then they could maybe just pass it on to them as this is your rental if you want to make some income off of it and show them the ropes and the rental and rental real estate. That would be the best gift I could give them, I think, is teaching them how to do this and how to make passive income. So excited about that. I think I talked about a lot of stuff today. I don't even know how long I've been talking, or I can go on and on. I have a bunch of more topics, but I'll leave it for next time. Yeah. So talking about arbitrages and dealing with maintenance and stuff like that, and then spoke about some Section 8 a little bit. I'll have more information on the Section 8 play for y'all. But I'm glad y'all are still listening and everything. And I'm happy to, if y'all reach out to me, I'm happy to chat, happy to email with you guys and help you out in any way I can. Because I know it always comes back. And I just love helping people. And so another thing, you are looking for an arbitrage, hit up my friend Rachel at Low Casa, L-O-Casa, L-O-Casa. So the letters L-O casa.com, and she has some great arbitragers throughout the country, actually. So she also will show you how they've been performing in the past and what they project to perform in the future, so you can look at it and see what the rents are. And some of these arbitrages are furnished, some of them are unfurnished, like I said, anywhere from California all the way to the East Coast. She has these arbitrages. This is what she does. She actively seeks out landlords that will let someone arbitrage their properties. And it's really cool. And she's not going to give you no ghetto places. So it's going to be nice places and that she projects to make a profit for you. And then also what's cool about that is my company's kind of attached to her if you want to take advantage of Argis Rentals managing your place for you. So you get an arbitrage from Rachel, put it under management Argis Rentals, and we'll make you some money. And you get a big discount if you do it that way instead of just going straight directly to me and avoiding Rachel, which you can. And we can work something out. But anyways, Low Casa, hit up LO-CASA.com and then find your arbitrage today. Find your first arbitrage, get into the game, first arbitrage or second or even your 100th arbitrage. But I still heavily believe in the arbitrage and ups and downs and all that stuff. They profit and they lead to bigger things as well. So whew, great episode. Find us at liveletthrive.com, liveletthrive@gmail.com. Reach out to me, say hi to Stevie Stacks, and I will see y'all on the flip side. This has been episode 308. So happy you're still following us on this journey, and we wish you all the luck and keep on keeping on. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.